I listen up, man. You've most likely have came across some pieces of content talking about this whole topic about desexualizing your mind. Desexualizing your mind is a key to success. Desexualizing your mind is a cheat code to becoming your higher self. Well, I'm gonna let you know right now to forget about all that nonsense. Forget about all that bullshit because it's nothing but a fake and false perspective on what you actually should be doing. And you might be wondering, okay, man, if desexualizing my mind ain't the way to go, what is it? Well, relax, because your boy's about to break this bitch down real quick like a brick for y'all. So, again, forget about desexualizing your mind and focus on actually replacing this habit of using your libido for only sex towards a much higher pursuit. Learn how to actually leverage libido, leverage your sexual energy towards your advantage. If you guys have been keeping up with the content on this channel, you might recall a video I posted recently about how addictions cannot be quit simply just like that. They need to be replaced with another quote-unquote addiction. That's the way these things work. That's the way your psychology actually operates. And when we're talking about the whole concept of desexualizing your mind, the same rules apply. It's not about completely eliminating your sex drive. A lot of people will think that when it comes to celibacy and semen retention. Oh man, never gonna be horny again. I'm never gonna do this again. I'm never gonna do that again. I'm gonna be asexual. That is not what's going on. That is not what this practice is really about. Just like how you might have an addiction to eating junk food that can be replaced with a higher pursuit, a higher addiction of going to the gym, you can also train your mind to dictate the body in a way where it doesn't correlate sexual energy as horniness. And what do I mean by that? When you have sexual urges, because this is the whole fallacy of desexualizing your mind. You are a sexual being. Sex is a part of life. And what do I mean by that? The only reason you're here, the only reason I'm here is because of sex. The only reason these plants are here, the only reason my dog is right there, what's up Lola, is because of sexual energy and the overall cosmic force, the creative force that is held within the practice, the overall concept of sex. Without that, the world ain't moving how it's moving. So you cannot take that aspect of reality away. You cannot take that component of your own self away. It's like almost saying humanify yourself. Like you're not going to be human if you take that away. You cannot take your sexual energy away from you, no matter what it is that you do. And I understand the perspective of desexualizing your mind. We live in a hyper-sexualized society. And guess what? We live in a hyper-stimulating society. We live in a hyper-unhealthy society. Those traps, tricks, and overall strategies put out by the matrix, the Maya, the illusion, are ways to grab your attention, grab your energy, grab your focus away from yourself and drain you and deplete you so you become a subordinate to whatever their agendas are. You become a bot, you become a mere cog to their machine. This happens on the mental level, on the physical level, on the spiritual level, and on the sexual level. But you have to realize the sexual energy is never the problem. Your sexual drive is never the problem. It was never the problem and it'll never be the problem. A lot of people will demonize sexuality. A lot of people will demonize women. A lot of people will demonize beauty in life when it comes to no FAP, semen retention, celibacy. And that's where they go wrong, and that's why they don't see the benefits, and that's why they think it's a scam. At the end of the day, what you are trying to do with this practice is take that outlet that you had for the sexual energy, which was just releasing it, and funnel it to something much higher. Because I'm just being honest with you, as someone who's on this journey for 4 years straight now, I live in California. There's beautiful girls everywhere I go. If I go on my phone, on Instagram to DM someone about consultation, hop into the Patreon community. Shout out to the fucking private Patreon community, man. Look, if you're enjoying this type of content on this channel, on the main channel, all the stuff that we talk about, and you still have not joined up into the private Patreon community, you are doing yourself a disfavor, man. Yes, sir. Let me say that again so it clicks for you. If you are enjoying this type of content and you have not joined up into the private Patreon community, look, man, you are doing yourself a huge disservice and disfavor, because within there we get access to exclusive content that goes much more in depth and in detail to these types of topics, as well as full guides, occult lectures, and most importantly, if you tap into the Philosopher's Circle, aka the highest membership tier group within the private Patreon community, you'll get access to our monthly mastermind live calls, where we're doing 2 live calls each and every single month. We hop on a call with me, as well as a community of like-minded men who are also on this journey towards self-mastery, who are also realizing that desexualizing the mind ain't gonna work, but realizing that they must have a higher pursuit to actually funnel this energy towards in order to see the true benefits of this practice. So if you want to be around a community of like-minded men who are also on the same journey, you want to tap in with me, chop it up with your boy, get into these monthly masterminds, get into the private group chat, and get access to all the other content that we got going on the private Patreon community, check out the links posted in the pinned comment of this video, because within there, you'll also be able to find links to our other services, whether that be application forms for our personalized coaching program, one-on-one consultation calls, weekly newsletters, free community Discord server, all that good stuff posted in the pinned comment of this video. But like I was saying, if you are realizing the true aspect of sexual energy and actually detaching it from this whole concept of, oh man, I gotta smash, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, and realizing that it is just energy that is here for you to use and wield like a sword, like a weapon, then you'll start to understand that it's not about taking away your sexuality, but it's actually using your sexuality for a higher purpose. You picking up what I'm putting down? Let's break it out even more. If you, quote unquote, are walking about life, again, like I said, women all around you, you go on Instagram and you see something like that. You go on YouTube, you see something that is sexual, because again, we live in a hyper-sexualized society. Guess what your mind's gonna do? It gets triggered to start upping these emotions, upping these hormones, that's gonna make you feel like you have to release the energy. And guess what? The only way that you know and you've trained yourself to release that energy is through sexual release. Yet if you take that same concept where you get these urges and your body knows how to actually use it for something higher, because you've replaced the addiction, are you seeing what I'm saying? Then you will not have to, quote unquote, desexualize your mind. Because I'm telling you right now, again, as someone who's been on this journey, you cannot run away from this hypersexualized society. Unless you want to go live in a cave, unless you want to go live in these ashrams, unless you want to go live at these churches, these holy places where that stuff is not around you. If you're someone who's more in the modern scene, which most likely you guys are, you have an iPhone, you have a laptop, you are watching this content, it's futile to think that you're going to be able to desexualize your mind, because your mind is just going to show you and correlate and connect things that your environment shows you. That's why it's so important to never underestimate your environment. You want to counteract certain things. So if the whole world is hypersexualized, you want to be in an environment that is not promoting all that stuff. Yet it's not susceptible to everyone to do that. They just go move out to these caves, they become mystics, they become monks. You have to become a modern mystic, a mystic in the digital age. And that is through the process of self-mastery. That is through not letting your mind be a slave to the senses. Because when you have a goal, you have a mission, you have a purpose, like I said in one of my previous videos talking about the sole purpose of semen retention, the whole purpose of this practice is not to quit porn, is not to quit your addictions towards lust. It's about replacing them and using lust, using libido, using that energy for a much higher pursuit. If you don't have a reason why you're doing this practice, you're not gonna actually be able to do this practice to the fullest extent and actually see and reap the rewards and benefits. You are not gonna be able to do that. I'm letting you know right now. If you're just trying to do no fap for however many days, we just passed No Nut November, that's a scam, that's a psyop. If your whole perspective and whole goal is to quit something, you're going to always set yourself up for failure. Always set yourself up for failure. So if your goal is to desexualize the mind with semen retention, guess what? You're setting yourself up for failure. Because your mind is going to go back into its old ways. Whatever you've trained the mind to do, and eventually what the mind is going to tell the body to do, is its default state of being. You have to give it a much more enticing goal to actually pursue towards in order for you to actually see these benefits come into play. If your why is not strong enough, you won't find the how. But if your why is strong enough, you'll always find a how. What are you practicing this for? Is it just to quit addictions? Because I'm telling you right now, you might be thinking, oh man, I just want to desexualize my mind because everyone's saying it's a cheat code to success. It's the key to becoming my higher self. It's not. You don't want to take away the most potent source of energy from you. You can do certain things when it comes to your diet, when it comes to your environment, to lower your libido. But you have to realize libido isn't just sex drive. This is what people get so wrong about everything when it comes to these practices of celibacy and semen retention. At the end of the day, your libido is life force energy. Life force energy. It's the reason I'm here, like I just said. It's the reason you're here. It's the reason my dog's here. It's the reason these plants are here. That same cosmic force, that life force, is contained within your fucking nutsack. Are you trying to take that away from you by desexualizing the mind? Or are you going to learn how to leverage it towards your advantage? Because you cannot run away from this stuff. I'm telling you right now, you cannot escape from this stuff as practical as you might think. And I'm not one to tell you, oh man, don't curate your environment to the point where it is less sexualized. Yes, get off these dating apps. Yes, get off these TikToks, Instagrams if you're not using it to build up like a brand, a business on social media. Get off of them so you're not triggering your mind to think about all these things. But when you go into the real world and you see beautiful ladies, you see beautiful girls, it's not about, oh man, I can't look at them, this and that. But your goal needs to be much higher. Like when I see beautiful women, and I'm not saying like, oh man, like I'm just so alpha, I know I can get girls, this and that. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is if I were in that position to actually go pursue women in my life, it would be light work. Has been like that in the past for me, and it's going to be like that in the future for me. That's just how it is. Confident in myself, I know what I'm doing, I know who I am, and I'm only going to get more and more confident in that realm as I progress in life on the mental, physical, and spiritual planes. But what I'm saying is you build up this power of discernment as you learn how to cultivate your sexual energy, that you're going to be like, you're not desexualizing yourself, but you have a higher standard for yourself, for your life, for the people around you. So you have this buffer zone where, okay, man, something might be enticing to just the physical side of you, but the mental side of you hits the pause button so the spirit, the soul can interchange information, be like, is this actually gonna help you get to your goals? Is this actually gonna help you discover your dharma, your duty, what you were really brought here to do? Or is this just another side quest, another distraction on your journey towards self-realization? A lot of people are living life just doing side quests. They're not really following the main mission, the main storyline, the main plot of what they were brought here to do. This is what leads to addictions. This is what leads to the concept of I'll have to desexualize my mind. If you burn off your karmas, discover your dharma through the process of self-mastery, through the process of an inner alchemical purification process, through these different practices that we talk about on here, on the main channel, on the private Patreon community, of course, with the people I work with one-on-one, you're going to slowly but surely start to build up this perspective where things that are lower level desires no longer are enticing to you. But you don't do it in a sense where you've completely lost your drive for life, lost your drive for sex, lost your drive for these actual primal instincts of you. You've now reverted the animal instincts for a higher pursuit, for a spiritual pursuit. Let me say that again. You've now reverted your primal energies to become assets for higher spiritual pursuits. What do I mean by that? Your primal energies to survive, to reproduce, and to build up status, those are all a part of you. Those are the animalistic side. Those are the 3 lower planes of existence, the 3 lower chakras, the 3 lower planes of consciousness. That is, right now I'm looking at my dog, that is the only things she can access. Her first goal is to survive. Her second goal is to reproduce. Her third goal is to have status within the hierarchy of the Doberman Husky animal kingdom. Us as humans have access to much more states of consciousness, much more goals, much more pursuits. Yet, most people are still stuck in the animalistic state of mind. Survival, sex, and status. They get some money from their job, so they're surviving, they can pay the bills. They go out, find some girlfriends, they go out, even watching porn, they think that they're having sex. Psychologically, it's making you think that you are reproducing. So they got that covered. And status, they gotta get this car, they gotta get these clothes, they gotta make themselves look cool on Instagram, they gotta make themselves look like they're doing well in life. They get some status, people are liking them, they're okay with life. But you, especially you who are watching these videos, I always say you guys are more psychologically matured, more spiritually matured on your journey. You realize that there's more aspects, more layers to life, much more fulfilling parts of your journey that you can access. That's the spiritual realms. Talking about the heart chakra, talking about the throat chakra, talking about the third eye, crown chakra, heart chakra is connecting with people, realizing that you are a part of a collective. You're building up that empathy. You were saying, hey man, I want to help elevate the consciousness of humanity. I want to touch the hearts of people. The throat chakra, you create. The way you create is the way that you touch people. It could be creating a business. It could be creating a career path. It could be creating a YouTube channel. Third eye, getting intuition. You're no longer looking outwards in the external world for knowledge, for information, for advice. You are relying on gnosis, aka divine knowledge that can only be accessed from within, that is directed into the third eye. These are all symbolism, these are all allegories, these are all metaphors. And then you have the crown chakra. When you are following in that path, when all these things are aligned from the lowest chakra of survival all the way up to the highest chakra, the higher planes of consciousness, the higher plane of existence, you are self-realizing, you're walking in union with your higher self. So it's not about cutting off your connection to the lower planes. It's about using those primal energies of wanting to survive, that hunger, that wanting to reproduce, the creative energy, the cosmic force, the willpower to raise you up your status in life. You're using all those aspects, but alchemizing it in a way where it's being used by a higher source. It's being used for higher pursuits. You're using lower level energies that if you just trap yourself into those states of consciousness would just make you more like an animal, but you're using the beast side of you to realize your higher self. That's the whole way you want to approach this whole practice of semen retention and celibacy. You don't want to eliminate urges. You don't want to feel like you're battling urges. You don't want to feel like you have to desexualize your mind. You are becoming the master of the self. The master of the self doesn't neglect any aspect of himself. The master of himself integrates each and every single aspect. And this is a good quote from Adya Shanti. We talk about this more in depth on the Patreon. There's a whole video talking about the sublimation of sexual energy, where he states, if you neglect any emotion, any aspect of yourself, it becomes a demon for you. You try to desexualize your mind, guess what? Your sexual energy, your sexual urges, your sexual libido, and overall cravings start to become a demon for you, because now you've repressed it. You're not giving it an outlet. Because you thought, oh man, sexual energy is bad, sexual urges are bad. You listen to these buffoons and idiots tell you that stuff, when in reality all you needed was to replace the outlet, replace the addiction, replace where you're putting that energy towards. That's all you needed to do. And that's why I always say, for the people I work with, especially one-on-one, what is your why for practicing this whole discipline? It can't be just for quitting something. Quitting something is going to keep you stuck in that state. If you just say this to yourself as an affirmation, I'm not a bitch, I'm not a bitch, I'm not a bitch, I'm not a bitch. Guess what you're gonna be thinking subconsciously? I am a bitch, I am a bitch, I am a bitch, I am a bitch. You have to use something more, replace it with something more positive. I am a boss, I'm strong, I am this, I am that. Things that replace it for a much higher vibration, a higher level of frequency. Same thing on all planes of consciousness. Guilt, shame, quitting, all that stuff is the lowest levels. Realization is the highest level. You have to start realizing that your sexual energy is a tool that can be used for your overall evolution in life. So why desexualize your mind? And again, I know what these people are talking about when it comes to desexualizing your mind. Don't be looking at Instagram right before you're about to go to sleep, 100%. Don't be scrolling through these TikToks, through these places where you know for a fact you're gonna be thrown these types of things. But at the end of the day, you wanna be building up your mind so much to the point where even if you look at this stuff and you have those urges, you're able to hit the pause button because you're doing some sort of self-inquiry, some self-observation through meditation, pranayama, all the stuff that we talk about again on this channel, on the main channel, on the private Patreon community with the people I work with one-on-one. So you have the ability to hit the pause button of your brain so the spirit can interject and have that level of discernment to tell you, okay, man, let's say you did indulge in this lower level desire. How is that gonna help you on your path? And then you're gonna be sitting there logically be saying, it's not gonna help me on my path. Then you step away from it. And guess what? That same urge can be used in a meditative practice. That same urge can be held instead of repressed, but actually funneled towards your creative pursuits. Think about the greatest minds who are on this journey in this practice. Leonardo da Vinci, Isaac Newton, Nikola Tesla, spiritual leaders of the past. Do you think that they were worried about desexualizing their mind? No, they had some goal, some dharma, some purpose, some duty that was so far more enticing to them that they didn't even think about any of this stuff. They were still walking about life. They were still viewing these women. They were still viewing these lustful things. But that level of discernment towards their goals was so strong they did not fall into temptations. They had such a high level of awareness of who they are, what they're supposed to do, and a high level of detachment of saying, I am not a slave to my senses. I'm the one that dictates where this energy, where this sexual energy goes. I'm the one that chooses this. I'm the boss. I'm the captain now. Shout out to Captain Phillips. If you know that scene, you know that scene. These people were using their lower level desires where everyone was saying, oh man, you got to repress it. You got to get away from it. This is a sin. That's bad. They were using it as super fuel to charge up themselves towards their purpose, towards their actual goals in life. Your goal must be much more enticing than any lower level pursuit, lower level desire. So now you can use that energy and actually funnel it to the higher levels of consciousness, towards your higher faculties. Hopefully you guys are picking up what I'm putting down. Because again, if you're just trying to quit things, you're not giving that energy an outlet. And it's going to find a way to still be expressed, whether you like it or not. And guess what? It's going to revert back to what you've already trained it to do. You haven't trained it to actually pursue higher pursuits, because again, all you're thinking about is quitting. You've trained it to release. So you're saying, I'm not going to release, I'm not going to release, I'm not going to release, I'm not going to release. Desexualize my mind, desexualize my mind, desexualize my mind. That energy is being boiled up to the brim, and it needs somewhere to go. No matter how much times you try to tell yourself you're desexualizing yourself, it's going to find a way to get out. And the only outlet that you've given it so far was through a lower level animalistic pursuit. You see? You see how futile, how false, how nonsense this is? So I'm saying a lot of people, you can't take their information so at heart, and I don't want you guys even take my information, my content, my wisdom, my overall game that I'm trying to spit on your brain at heart. You have to realize it and dig deep and actually make it make sense for you. That's how I am. It has to make sense for me before I actually do something. Trying to desexualize your mind does not make sense. Unless you want to chop off your nuts, it's never going to happen. So instead of wasting your time on trying to desexualize yourself, learn how to actually use the sexual energy for a different outlet. The whole reason that you are so in this state of mind of like, lust is bad, this is bad, that is bad, I feel like a loser, I feel like a depleted drain, is because you are correlating lust and sexual urges to release. The problem was never the sexual urges. The problem was never the sexual energy. It's the way you deal with it. That was a problem. So it's not about desexualizing your mind. It's about reintegrating your sexual energy for a much higher pursuit. Don't try to think that you're going to be able to just hop on semen retention, hop on celibacy without a real purpose for doing it and actually see the real benefits of this. The only reason I've made it this far along this journey, this far along this path, because I have big goals for not only my mind, my body, my spiritual journey, but also this brand, but also this message, but also this content. I have an outlet, I have a creative outlet for this pursuit, for this practice. So over time, I've developed my mind to correlate sexual urges as cosmic force, creative energy. So when I wake up bricked up like a motherfucker, I'm not thinking about, oh man, I gotta grab my phone, watch some porn. I'm not thinking, oh man, I gotta go swipe around on Tinder and find a girl. I'm thinking about, okay man, we're gonna have a good day. We're gonna have a good day. We're gonna be putting all this energy towards our work. We're gonna hit some pranayama. We're gonna hit the cold shower. We're gonna hit all these different types of practices that you need supplemented along this journey. And if you don't know what those are, go check out the full guide on the main channel. Your boys got you covered. Go on the main channel, Fulati Fitness. Matter of fact, just go on YouTube right now, on the search bar, click in how to succeed on semen retention. You'll find a full video guide within there. And also, as you watch the guide, you'll get access to the free ebook, the Art of Retention ebook, which goes even more in depth and more in detail to all the tools you need to succeed on this journey. Not about desexualizing your mind, but actual practices to actually learn how to use your life force energy towards your advantage, leverage it towards your higher pursuits. And again, if you're dyslexic, you have ADHD, you can't read, your boys got you covered with a full audio series on the Art of Retention ebook. Just go on the main channel, Fulati Fitness, click playlist. There's a whole audio series, so pop it in while you're walking, pop it in while you're going about your day, so you get up on some game for your motherfucking brain to realize that it's not about desexualizing your mind. It's about learning how to use that same force for a much higher purpose. And if you're still struggling with that, book a one-on-one consultation, man. Check out the links posted in the pinned comment of this video. Hop into the private Patreon community. We can talk about these things more in depth and in detail within the monthly masterminds. Apply it for personalized coaching, bro. There's all these tools for your disposal. So I don't want to hear this nonsense that, oh man, I just got to desexualize my mind and I'll be good on this practice. No. No, 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 no. You're just going to put yourself in a deeper hole because you're going to repress that energy, and that energy is eventually going to come out as a shadow self, as a shadow aspect, because you've not integrated it to your being. You've not integrated it to yourself. You can't neglect any part of yourself, even the bad. One who is self-realized realizes there is no bad, no good. It is just up to him on how he dictates where that energy goes. It's up to him how he perceives that energy. It's up to him how he masters it. That's what semen retention on the highest level is all about. It's not about quitting porn. It's not about quitting chasing women. It's about being in charge of where your energy, where your consciousness is operating at. So when sexual urges come about, you don't try running away from them because you're scared of them, because, oh man, you're battling urges. Oh man. You say, hey man, I don't want to indulge in this because I don't see it helping me in my higher level pursuits. I don't see how partaking in this action is actually going to make me feel fulfilled in life. I know what's going to make me fulfilled in life. My dharma, my duty, my purpose. So I'm going to take this same fucking energy that makes this whole world spin around, that's contained within my nutsack, and funnel it towards actually achieving that dharma, actually achieving that duty, actually becoming my highest self. That's when you start to see the real benefits of this practice. So if you're starting off this practice, keep this in mind so you don't have to go through the downfalls, you don't have to go through the pitfalls that most people will have as they struggle on this path of semen retention and celibacy. You'll be able to streamline your journey, you'll be able to look past all this nonsense and actually hit right on the nail what you really need to know about the real benefits of this practice, how it really comes about. It ain't gonna come about when you desexualize your mind. It comes about when you actually learn how to use sexuality for a much higher purpose. Because at the end of the day, sexual energy is just creative energy. It can be used to create a child, but also could use to create your business, create your vision, create your career. You want to take that away from you? By all means, try doing it. You will never succeed on that path. So yes, cleanse out your environment. You can do that by counterbalancing things. If all your friends are talking about smashing hoes, hop into a community, whether that's a free community Discord server, links posted in the pinned comment of this video, or even into the Philosopher's Circle private group chat where you actually counterbalance it. You're around more people who are thinking about higher pursuits. So guess what? You've all heard the saying, you are the culmination of the 5 people that you hang out with the most. 5 people that you listen to with the most. So are you listening to rappers, you're listening to music, talking about sexuality, or are you talking about it? Talking about it in a way where it's the lower level aspects of it? Are you around people that are talking about sexuality, the lower aspects of it? Are you watching content that is degrading sexuality to just the animalistic view of it? Or are you surrounding yourself in environments with people, with music, with whatever it is that's gonna help you raise your level of consciousness to be able to realize, oh man, sexual energy isn't just about smashing chicks, it isn't just about creating babies. It's a generative force on a metaphysical sense that I have the ability to wield like a weapon to carve out whatever path it is in life that I want. It's a super fuel, it's a generative source that's gonna keep this whole engine running. And I'm the one that chooses where this car goes. So again, the physical body, like I've said so much, is the vehicle, the car. The mind is the steering wheel, the spirit and soul is the one in the driver's seat. Guess what keeps this whole thing running? Of course, there's other forms of life force energy. But the thing that actually starts up the engine, that actually keeps this thing pumping, keeps the pistons moving, is your life force energy, which sexual energy is a part of. Yet, when the sexual energy is not actually integrated properly, the engine goes and it blows up. So guess what? You can't go where you want to go. You're stuck in that position in life. If you take away the engine by desexualizing your mind, where the fuck is the car gonna go? Doesn't matter how clear your mind is, where's that force? But when they're all working in unison, where the spirit is the one dictating where the mind goes, and the mind is dictating where the body goes, and the body is actually using the engine, the sexual energy, as a true source of fuel, you can take the car wherever you want. Wherever you want, wherever it is that your spirit and soul is guiding you towards, wherever the higher self, the inner self, the higher guru, the inner guru is actually guiding you towards as a GPS system. That's what you want, bro. That's what you really want when it comes to this practice. And I'm telling you right now, as one who experiences this is what it's all about. Taking back control of your energy and then using it, not throwing it away, not neglecting it, but using it for a much higher goal that will bring you true fulfillment in life. Sex, junk food, lower level pleasures, again, are only just going to give you quick spikes of dopamine. But you want to be living in a state of mind, a state of euphoria, which can only be accessed internally by actually following your dharma, your path, your duty. You're never going to taste true fulfillment if you're chasing from external pleasure to external pleasure to external pleasure. Even if you desexualize your mind, you're never going to truly feel fulfillment in your life. It's about integrating all the aspects of yourself, but then using all those aspects for yourself for the main mission you were brought here, what you were brought here to actually produce, which you were incarnated here to actually bring about to the world, to help elevate the consciousness of humanity from the dark ages, aka Kali Yuga, on over to the new Renaissance, the golden age. Just like how Leonardo da Vinci, another person who practiced semen retention, was a Renaissance man who brought in new innovations, new creative outputs by using his sexual energy for that purpose. You too have to be a part of that mission as well. In your way, your mission, your own duty, your own dharma, that God, the universe, has brought you here to accomplish. It ain't gonna be done by desexualizing your mind. It's gonna be done by integrating all aspects of yourself, but having that main goal that is so much more enticing than anything that this external world can give you. So you actually focus all your energy, all your attention, all your overall life force towards it. So hopefully you're picking up what I'm putting down, man, because it's been your boy out here in the field, in the flesh, dropping y'all that game so you guys can make these games, and I'm out of here. Peace.